Dear viewers, welcome to our channel. Subscribe to receive more stories every day. I was standing in my hotel room, staring at the skyline of Chicago, when my phone buzzed. I had just returned from a business dinner, exhausted but satisfied with how well the negotiations had gone. Then I saw the voicemail notification. Jason. I should have known. Something in my gut had told me this was coming. That little itch in the back of my mind whispering that he was up to something / Still, I wasn't prepared for what I heard. Emma, hey. His voice was light, almost amused. Look, I don't love you anymore. I'm leaving. Olivia and I are flying to Brazil tonight. I already emptied our joint account, so. Yeah. Good luck without me. And then he laughed. That cruel, mocking laugh that I hadn't heard in years. For a long moment, I stood motionless, the phone still clutched in my hand. The betrayal should have hurt. The shock should have sent me spiraling. Instead, I smiled. Not a bitter smile. Not an angry one. Satisfied one. Because Jason had no idea he had just lost a game he didn't even know he was playing. Jason thought he was slick. He thought he was careful. He thought I was oblivious. I had started suspecting him 6 months ago. Little things at first. A shift in his routine, the sudden interest in working out, the way his phone was always face down. Jason had never been a particularly good liar, but he was an excellent coward. He wasn't brave enough to leave me outright. No, he needed to secure his safety first. And by safety I mean my money. I had worked my way up from nothing. Every penny in that joint account I had earned. Jason had never been great with finances, and I had no issue managing our money, until I noticed strange withdrawals, transfers I hadn't made. That was when I stopped loving him. Not when I suspected he was cheating. Not when I caught glimpses of lipstick on his collar. Well, it was the money. Because that told me exactly what kind of man he was. Jason wasn't just betraying me. He was robbing me. That's when I began planning. I did not confront him. That would have been emotional. Messy. I don't do messy. Instead, I played the role of the clueless wife. I giggled at his half-hearted excuses, nodded along to his explanations, and kissed him good night as if I didn't know he was plotting against me. And behind his back, I laid the foundation for his destruction. First, I secured my finances. I drained the joint account myself, moving the funds into an account in my name only. Legally, of course. Every transfer meticulously documented. If Jason had bothered to check our records before he made his grand exit, he would have seen that the account had been practically empty for weeks. Then I went a step further. I set up a decoy account. I needed Jason to believe there was still money left. So, I created a new account, placed a few $1,000s in it, and made it appear like the original. Perfect trap. All I had to do was wait. The night before I left for my business trip, Jason was unusually affectionate. He kissed me deeper, held me a little longer. I almost laughed. Guilt was a funny thing. Have a great trip, he murmured, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. I will. I knew he had already booked his tickets. I had seen the reservation in our email. He planned to leave as soon as I was gone, taking what he thought was our savings and running to Olivia like the pathetic coward he was. I boarded my flight, checking my phone periodically. No messages yet. No withdrawals. I landed, checked again. Nothing. Then, finally tonight the voicemail came. He thought he had won. I took a sip of my wine, calm and collected. The real fun was just beginning. I unlocked my laptop and accessed our shared banking portal. Sure enough, Jason had transferred every last cent from the decoy account. The fool. He really thought he had cleaned me out. Pity for him, really. I clicked on an email I had drafted weeks ago. A simple subject line. Urgent. Unauthorized account activity. Fraud alert. I hit send. Within minutes, the wheels were in motion. Jason would try to use those funds. And they would decline. Because the account he had stolen from. It was flagged. The transaction would trigger a fraud alert. His location would be flagged. And the authorities would be notified. Jason wouldn't be enjoying cocktails in Brazil. No, Jason would be sitting in an interrogation room, trying to explain why the funds he transferred from our joint account were suddenly marked as fraudulent. I sighed contentedly, closing my laptop. He would see soon enough. For now, I would enjoy my wine. I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing. Over and over again. Jason. I smirked as I took another sip of coffee, lounging in the plush chair of my hotel suite. The morning sun cast golden streaks across the room, but I knew Jason's world had gone completely dark. I let it ring. Then the text started. Jason, what the hell did you do? Jason. Emma, pick up the phone. This isn't funny. Jason. Why is my card declining? Why is my account frozen? Jason. Where is the money? I took my time before replying. Me alright. One word. One simple word. I could picture him wherever he was, in a crummy airport cafe, sweating bullets, frantically refreshing his banking app. He had walked into this trap with the confidence of a man who believed he was untouchable. He thought he had taken everything from me. Now he had nothing. The fun part about orchestrating revenge is knowing exactly when to twist the knife. Jason had planned to disappear with Olivia. No loose ends, no explanations. Just an immediate new life funded by the money he thought he stole from me. But Jason was an idiot. A greedy, careless idiot. See, when you move large sums of money from one account to another, the bank gets interested. And when you withdraw a large portion of your savings right before an international flight, well, that raises flags. I had already made sure that his little stunt would trigger an automatic fraud investigation. And now he was stranded. After a few more desperate texts, Jason finally gave up on me responding through messages and did what I had been waiting for. He called. I answered after 2 rings, stretching the silence between us until I heard the tension in his breathing. He was unraveling. What the hell did you do, Emma? His voice was frantic, the smugness completely gone. I yawned dramatically. Oh, good morning, Jason. How's Brazil? Don't play games with me, he snapped. I can't access any of the money. The bank says the funds are under investigation. I just tried to pay for a cab and my card declined. They think I committed fraud. I sipped my coffee. Well, that's unfortunate. Emma. His voice dropped into a low growl. Fix this. Now. I laughed. The sound was light, almost joyful. Jason, sweetheart. You thought you could steal from me. That's adorable. This isn't funny. He was losing it. I could hear it in the frantic edge to his voice, the way his breath came in short bursts. You can't do this to me. Oh, Jason, I sighed. I already did. Silence. A long, painful silence. Then he whispered, you knew. I let the weight of his realization settle between us before I spoke again. Slow and deliberate. I knew months ago. The affair. The money. Everything. Jason made a strangled sound, part frustration, part disbelief. And I continued. I decided that if you were going to betray me, I was going to make sure you suffered for it. Jason swore under his breath. You can't just take all the money, Emma. I earned. I burst into laughter. You earned. That's rich. I have nothing now, he exploded. Do you understand? Nothing. I swirled the last of my coffee, watching the rich brown liquid spin in my cup. That's not my problem. He cut himself off, breathing heavily. His mind likely scrambling for a solution. Fine. You want to play games? Let's play. I'm going to the police. I'll tell them you stole the money. Please do, I said sweetly. In fact, let me help. Since you're in another country right now, I'd be happy to send them your banking records. His breathing stopped. That's right, I continued. Every suspicious transaction. Every withdrawal you made from the joint account into your personal one. I even have copies of your emails to Olivia. You know, the ones where you talk about cleaning me out. Really, Jason, you should have deleted those. Silence. And then, in the quietest voice, Emma, please. There it was. A shift. The arrogance crumbling into desperation. Please, what? I asked, tilting my head. Please, help me, he whispered. I sighed, stretching my legs as I leaned back in my chair. Jason, 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 I'd scared. You laughed when you told me you were leaving. You stole from me. You mocked me. And now you're begging. He swallowed. I wasn't thinking straight. I made a mistake. You're right about that, I mused. But here's the thing, Jason. I don't help thieves. He let out a shaky breath. Smiled. Enjoy Brazil. Then I hung up. Jason tried everything. He called his bank. They refused to unblock the account because it was flagged for fraudulent activity. He tried to book a flight home. His credit card declined. He begged Olivia for help. She blocked him. Because Olivia wasn't interested in Jason without money. And Jason had nothing. With nowhere to go and no funds to get back, he was stranded. For weeks, I ignored his messages. Then one evening I got an email. Subject: You win. Message: I lost everything. I don't even have a place to stay. I was wrong. You were always the smarter one. Please just help me come home. I don't have anything left. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I typed a response. All right. And I deleted it. Instead, I simply moved on. The moment I hit delete on Jason's email, a strange sensation washed over me. It wasn't relief. It wasn't victory. It was something quieter, finality. Jason was nothing to me now. Not a husband. Not an enemy. Just a name from my past. And yet, life has a funny way of offering one last twist. Because Jason wasn't done suffering yet. 3 weeks had passed since I last heard from Jason. The texts stopped. The calls stopped. Even the pathetic emails begging me to undo what I had done ceased completely. I assumed he had finally accepted his fate. I was wrong. It was a Monday morning when I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. A Brazilian area code. I knew it was him before I even answered. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Silence. Then a choked, broken voice whispered, Emma. I should have hung up. I should have ignored it. Let him suffer in his self-made disaster. But something was off. He didn't sound angry. He didn't sound smug. He sounded terrified. I stayed quiet, waiting for him to speak. Then, in the smallest voice, he said, They took everything. Jason was always a fool. A greedy, short-sighted fool. Turns out, when he arrived in Brazil with what he thought was our stolen fortune, he made a new mistake. He started spending money he didn't have. He and Olivia had booked a luxury suite in a resort under his name. They had ordered the finest champagne, dined in exclusive restaurants, and even talked about investing in property. Jason, being the idiot he was, bragged about his wealth. And people took notice. But not just any people. The wrong people. Jason was not a smart man. And when you flaunt wealth you don't actually possess in the wrong parts of the world. People come to collect. The last bit of cash he had in his wallet was stolen. His passport. His clothes. Taken. Even Olivia, his beloved mistress, abandoned him the second she realized he had no money left. Jason had nothing. And now someone was after him. His breathing was shallow over the phone. Emma. They're going to kill me. I leaned back, completely unfazed. Sounds like a personal problem. His voice cracked. I know I messed up. I know I deserve this. But please help me. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anyone else. He was right. I was the last person left. But Jason had made one fatal error long before he ever tried to steal from me. He forgot who I was. I had given him everything. My love, my trust, my money. And he threw it away, believing I was some helpless woman who would crumble the moment he walked out the door. He was wrong. And now, he would never forget it. I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Then, in the calmest, most indifferent voice I could muster, I whispered, all right. And then I hung up. I blocked his number. And I never looked back. I never found out what happened to Jason after that call. Maybe he found a way out. Maybe he was still stuck in a foreign country, a broken man with nothing to his name. Or maybe they really did come for him. But it didn't matter. 'Cause I was free. I didn't just survive Jason's betrayal, I thrived. My career soared, my life flourished. Without him, everything was lighter. And as I sipped my wine one evening, gazing at the sunset from my beautiful new home, I smiled. Because in the end, Jason played himself. And I won. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe to our channel to receive more stories every day. Share with us what you think of this story and tell us where you're watching from.